Hello and welcome to another edition of A Whole New Pod. I am one of your hosts, Lucas Melby, and with me as always is...
Jacob Telejohn.
Alright, better start than last week. We actually introduced ourselves in the first 30 seconds. Got an exciting episode here today, folks.
Episode 3.
I'm sure there's one thing and one thing only you've been waiting for. Your breath has been bated. It's been keeping you up at night. And you've been wondering, what are our hot takes on the McRib? And we're here to bring them to you.
We had them today. We swung by McDonald's, actually, right before we started watching today's movie, Brink, and picked up 2 of them. Each of us had one. And Lucas, what were your thoughts on them?
Well, I'm not going to lie. It was pretty good.
It was pretty good. It was a little expensive. We're usually dollar menu heirs.
Dollar menu heirs in effect. We rolling up like McDonald's pimps right up in this bitch.
But these were about $3.50 after taxes, I believe.
Yeah, it was over $7 for 2 of them. So,
yeah, so they were good, but were they that good?
Yeah, I've had one before, and I don't think I was too impressed before either. They remind me, Jacob Telejohn and I call him Telejohn. Some behind the scenes things that might slip out in some of these episodes. But Jacob and I went to high school together, and at our high school, the cafeteria occasionally served something called a rib witch.
I kind of remember that.
It was basically a McRib, except I think it might have actually been better than a McRib. Similar concept to a McRib, where it's some kind of processed pork fashioned into something that looks like ribs, which is not really how actual ribs work. Without bones, but that's what it looks like. And, we got the barbecue sauce and all that stuff.
I was a bit caught off guard, though, by the pickles on the McRibs today. That was a little weird. Next time, if there is a next time, I'm going to get it without pickles.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, on that note, we're going to get back to your usual programming, because you don't come here for our fast food reviews.
We digress.
You come here for our great critical analysis
of
Disney Channel original movies. That's what this podcast is all about. That and maybe comedy? I don't know. If we've been too successful at that, we try. These are the jokes, everybody. So, let's get back into... I won't make the same joke with it. The McRib of this show. So yes, as Jacob alluded to earlier, and by alluded to I mean just said outright, we watched the 3rd Disney Channel original movie today, Brink. Came out in 1998, and this, you could call it, an extreme sports movie.
Absolutely.
It is a 90s-ass, 90s kids movie, all about rollerblading, or, as they say in the movie, and probably is the technical term, aggressive inline skating.
Ooh.
This one, I think we're entering into the golden age of Disney Channel original movies, or at least for people of our generation. We had a friend who wanted to possibly be on this episode, but we said, hey, we're still finding our footing. We don't want you to outshine us, so Brink is still ours. But we're getting into, what some people might call the canon of Disney Channel original movies. I think we got Halloween Town on deck. I think that might be the very next one. We've got Smart House on the horizon. So I don't really know much about any of these movies, but I've heard they're good, and that these are the ones that we're to be excited about.
Brink, like Under Wrap, episode 1, is one that I did watch as a kid. I mean, the bits and parts of it, I recalled, but it was definitely fun rewatching it now, years later.
I can say that I had seen part of this movie before. There is some little clip that I'd seen in a YouTube video that was pointing out how lame it was. So that was a moment of realization that kind of took me away. But let's just hop right into it.
Just like the movie, let's get started.
So,
quick.
Our last movie, I couldn't even remember. You got a dog. We bought a zoo. I couldn't even remember the name of the movie.
Lassie.
You
Wishbone.
Lucky Dog. Slow start, but really picked up in the end. This is kind of, I would say the inverse, because it starts off really quick, but it kind of maintains a good pace. Yeah. But from the very start, we're hit with mad 90s vibes.
Yeah. We've
got a radical teen running around his house, eating breakfast, but what is his breakfast?
Drinking chocolate syrup straight out of the bottle.
Hey, only 90s kids remember doing that. We've got ska music playing.
He's talking like a skater to his mom, to his dad, to his sister.
He says, "What up, Dad?" And his dad's like, "The fuck you say to me, son? English in this house, boy." This is our main character, Andy His nickname is Brink.
Brink.
I don't know his last name because it doesn't fucking
No,
matter.
his last name is Brinkman or something, isn't it? That's where he got the nickname. It's something Brink.
I'll take your word for it.
It has something to do with Brink.
This is not a fact-checking podcast. I am not about to go Wikipedia the whole plot synopsis.
I think it's Andy Brink.
Otherwise, you hear this?
We got notes.
Those are my notes. So, back to it. Yeah, he is running late for school. He can't eat breakfast because he's too late. Actually, no, he's not even going to school. He's meeting up with his skater friends who they're about to go to the beach, but they're sitting at the bus waiting for Brink to show up. And these are just some classic teens. They're just sitting there, chilling out, talking about, where's Brink? Did he get abducted by aliens?
Aliens, yes.
But he didn't. He comes up right after the last bus has come by. So they're like, oh man, what are we gonna do? And Brink says, why don't we skate to the beach? But bro, it's like 1,000 miles. It's okay. So yes, and be prepared for that impression throughout most of this episode. I came into this movie expecting some radical teen skater talk.
And that's what we got.
I was not disappointed. No, there was no word of tubular or gnarly used, but it's still pretty good.
That's maybe more of a surfing. We'll maybe get that a little bit down the DCOM chain.
The Johnny Tsunami time.
Yeah.
So we get a sequence of very classic skater teens is going crazy, busting through parks, busting through sitting areas.
I wrote down sick angles. There were great shots.
Yes, the cinematography, if you will, was very inspired. They probably hired some people who did skating videos, so they knew the right setups, the right angles. So yeah, it was a good time. There was so these characters that we're introduced to, there are three friends of Brink's. They are Gabriella, who is a Peruvian girl, Jordy, and Peter. And Gabriella, she's got she's definitely a tomboy character,
callback.
And she is all about addressing sexism, which all good for her. Because Brink a couple of times kept saying, let's pick up some speed, guys. Let's go, guys. And Gabriella went,
very offended.
Why's it got to be guys all the time?
Yeah.
And I don't know if Brink really had a great response to that. So the destination they're trying to get to is the Pit, which is your run-of-the-mill skate park down by the beach. The movie takes place in California. So while they're just skating around, tearing up the vert and what have you, one of the friends spots that there's a reporter in the attendance of the audience around the park who we find out works for Inline Skating Magazine because it's very smallly printed on his baseball cap.
On his cap, yeah.
So, eagle-eyed friend from probably like 50 feet away is like, yo, bro, he's for the Inline Skating Magazine.
Yeah.
At this point in my notes, I've written down this movie is already better than Lucky Dog.
Yeah.
You Lucky Dog, forgetting the name again. Not a high bar to pass, but I was already digging it. This reporter that they're trying to get some attention for is quickly distracted by our villains.
X-Bladz.
Yes, we are introduced to Team X-Bladz, spelled with the letter X, but then B-L-A-D-Z.
Bladz.
Yes, X-Bladz. Did a little bit of research on this movie and saw on the Wikipedia page that it was spelled that way, and I was like, that cannot be right. But lo and behold, we see in the movie printed on their shirts, it does say X-Bladz, because we're in the radical 90s, brah! So, being the villains, they gotta try to give our heroes a hard time, try to get them out of the pit, because they're doing a photo shoot, man.
And our heroes are known as the Soul Skaters.
Yes, the Soul Skaters, the group of Brink, Jordy, Gabriella, and Peter. And they're harshing X-Bladz vibes, getting in their lighting. They need to get them out of the skate park. So they acquiesce for a bit. As they're leaving the park, Brink encounters some skateboarders and just goes into them and talks some mad trash about skateboarders, but then says, that's not coming from me. That's coming from
Val.
Val, the ringleader of the X-Bladz.
Val had actually blocked off Brink. He had stepped in front of him, and it caused Brink to crash. And like when Brink had crashed, he kind of fell out of the pit area. So they used that as kind of an excuse, like, you guys left the pit, it's ours now. And then that's when Brink and then the goodies got the baddies in trouble.
Yeah, sort of finders keepers situation. So, more or less, Brink sicks these skateboarders on them so that they kind of scare them off, and then the Soul Skaters are back in the pit, just like that. Which, we're slightly 90s kids. We were both born in 1993. Yeah. I wouldn't really consider myself a 90s kid, because I only, spent 7 years. So, not a lot of memories growing up in the 90s, but I did have encounters with skateboarding. Did you get involved with skateboarding at all?
I think I got a skateboard from the Boy Scouts, but I didn't really use it.
Very legit board. Yeah. Got some good grip tape and trucks on that.
Yeah, the best.
I never skateboarded myself, but I had an appreciation for it. Obviously, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, those games were huge.
Played those games, yeah.
But my brother and some kids in my neighborhood were really big into skateboarding, so I was a sort of voyeur in that crowd. Learns a lot of the terminology, which is in effect in this movie, talking about 540s, verts, all that stuff. And I'm like, hundreds. Yo, bro, you speak in my language. That's just a little side note that I'm pretty cool, guys. That's what I'm trying to get out here by bringing up my tangential skateboarding past. Is I'm kind of a cool dude.
I can vouch for that, kind of.
Shots fired, ladies and gentlemen. Brink heads back home at some point, and we get some more radical language and possibly the origin of a very popular slang term now. Fam.
Yo, what's up, fam?
Me and Jacob heard that, and we both turned to look like we heard an ice cream truck coming by or something.
It was pretty good. Like I thought it was maybe like a newer age kind of, last few years kind of term, but no, this has been around the last 20 plus. So
it's like what they say. Every story's been told before. Every slang term has been used before. Yeah. Bay will probably show up in a later Disney Channel original movie. Disney, they got the pulse on what all the kids are into. And in this case, it's rollerblading. So again, we get some square dad getting up in Brink's business. He's like, I don't understand a single word coming out of your mouth.
Dad is not happy. He says about Brink that he shouldn't be happy all the time. It's not normal.
He is too happy of a kid. I can't understand him, and he's got some bad clothes. They're baggy. Boy, pull up your pants. Also, we get a little bit of background with Brink's dad, as he has been on disability with a bad back.
Yeah. He used to be a construction foreman.
Yep, he was a construction worker. Disability, and this might create some tension later on that we'll get to. The reason why his dad is so concerned about him being so happy is that it's the first day of school, and Brink is seemingly pretty stoked, even though he's not going to be able to spend his days all skating all the time.
Yeah.
We get a little bit of a comedy moment where, as they're waiting, Brink is hanging out with Peter and Gordy. I don't know, it's not very important.
Friend 1 and friend 2.
But then we see Gabriella coming off of the bus. Remember, Gabriella being the tomboy friend. And she's wearing a dress. Oh, man. And you know what Gabriella doesn't like? Confined gender roles. As they're giving Gabriella some trash about wearing the dress, our boy Val, the villainous Val, rides through, steals Peter's shoes, and then throws them over the power lines. The classic tie them together and throw them over the power line. Only 90s kids remember, guys. They are mad at Val because he's a dick, Avi. And they're trying to figure out how to get back at him. And what do?
At lunch later that day, it's actually quite the action sequence. It's a continuous shot. Val's sitting down talking to all his buddies, and friend 1 comes over and spills his milk on the lunch table. And then I believe it's Gabriella that comes by and picks up Val's sandwich while they're all focused on the spilt milk, and she brings it over to Brink, who then puts worms on the sandwich.
A fuck ton of worms.
A lot of worms. It was like, if he opens this, he's going to tell kind of mass quantity. And then friend 2 wraps the sandwich back up, and they're still cleaning up the milk or whatever, and he puts the sandwich back down without Val even noticing.
And then he bites into the sandwich, and
the worms are differently colored, too.
Yeah, they're probably like, I don't know, placeholder movie worms that either are plastic or just taste okay. And then Val, dumbfounded by what he's eaten, is getting up, is like, what the hell's going on? is approached by a teacher of some sort who's like, Val, what are you freaking out about?
Stop being a spaz.
Yeah, and then he looks over to our friends, the Soul Skaters, who, in synchronized fashion, all hold up pieces of paper to spell out the phrase,
don't be a wuss.
So, very well executed plan altogether, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Val doesn't say anything to the teacher. The teacher goes away, but he immediately walks over to the Soul Skaters and challenges Brink and says, yo, meet me out back. You, me, now.
Yes.
So we thought it was going to be a fight. That was my initial reaction.
I was thinking that as well.
But, these are radical dudes. It's all about skating. So they set up a team relay race of sorts, the Soul Skaters versus the X-Bladz. And then the race is on with... I enjoyed the ska earlier on.
Yeah.
Judge me as you will. I'm a ska fan. Only 90s kids remember. But there's some interesting musical choices in this. And
throughout the whole movie, there was a lot of music, to be honest.
Yeah, step up from the 3 songs in You Lucky Dog.
Yeah.
The music playing during this sequence, the race sequence, is kind of bad. It was definitely radical because it was just kind of... It wasn't, screamo metal, but it was just screaming a lot of the time, going like...
Yeah.
Wah!
Yeah.
But the race is cut short because one of the members of Team X-Bladz, named Boomer, wipes out and gets injured. And at that leg of the race, Brink is skating for the Soul Skaters.
And he's in first place, too. He's in first, and when Boomer crashes, he's just kind of laying there. So Val, Val's got to wait till they slap hands or whatever, and Boomer's still laying there. So Brink's getting quite ahead in the competition, but...
Yeah, he goes over and checks in on Boomer because while he's an amazing skater, he's also a skater with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
So he wants to make sure Boomer's okay. And then...
The teacher.
Yeah.
Comes
The
up.
race is just over. The teachers come in, break it up. Things happen. Brink and all the other skaters get suspended. So then we get to see Brink and his father is driving him home. And he just can't understand his son. 4 hours into the school day, already... suspended. So Dad just can't understand him because Brink's talking some mad talk saying they were beefing with us, they dissing us, we had to battle them. Yeah. Which I feel like are fairly understandable phrases, but I guess I'm not a square dad. Parents, am I right? They're the worst. Turn my baseball cap backwards. Let me talk to you about parents. But as they're driving home, the family car breaks down, steam coming out of the radiator and everything, which is no good. The Brink family does not need this because, as we mentioned before, the dad's on disability right now, and his job prospects in the future are a little shaky. He doesn't know if he's going to get back in with the construction company.
Not sure what was the mom working? Do you remember?
Yes, the mom is a realtor, but she hasn't been selling any houses.
Yeah, that's right.
The daughter's got braces that need to be paid for. The house there's the mortgage. All of this stuff. And this conversation where we learn this is between the mom and the dad, and Brink overhears it. So, he gets worried.
Strapped for cash.
The next day, Brink is hanging out with his friends, spending their suspended days, I guess just doing what got them suspended, skating.
Yeah.
When Val comes by, tells them that Boomer's out for a while, but he just wants to gloat about how awesome Team X-Bladz is, how much money he makes.
Yep, all the money, the fame, being in the magazines, all the free gear.
Yeah, he's got it all. And this is all a nice ploy by Val to set some bait, make it seem enticing to Brink, because he wants Brink. Brink is a very good skater, so he wants to get Brink there. But the Soul Skaters... They blow him off, say, get out of here, Val. You do it for the money.
Yeah, we're not about the money. We're not about the fame. We do it because we have heart.
They do it for the fun. And Limp Bizkit did it all for the nookie.
Wow.
So, Brink is pained. He is seeing this opportunity where he can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But he's conflicted about his own philosophical feelings about skating. So, he has to leave his friends while they're practicing because they're a skating team just like Team X-Bladz, so they're preparing for an upcoming competition, the Invitational.
Yeah.
And this is where I learned a bit of skating lingo that I didn't know, that you don't say practice, you say session.
Session.
We're having a skating session.
We're having a pod session.
So Brink breaks off and goes over to the X-Bladz HQ, which is pretty legit.
It is. They got all their, I don't know, what are the terms? They got half pipes in there maybe, and some rails and some
yeah, they got half pipes, rails, verts,
the
whole shebang. They got gear, they got groupies. They're serious.
They do.
And at the HQ, there are some tryouts happening for the replacement for Boomer.
Yeah.
But none of the tryouts, they all kind of suck.
They weren't fans, and some of the guys started giving Val crap, because the secret weapon, Brink, hadn't showed up. He hadn't taken the bait. But we see Brink hiding behind, I don't know, some
bleachers, risers or something.
He's hiding behind them, and then he just decides to appear, and he's rolling out, and everybody's jaws dropping because Val's plan had worked.
Yep. So Val goes up to him, and Brink says, okay, how much money do you actually make? And Val says, we get $200 a week plus $200 bonuses when we win competitions.
Plus all the free gear, all the new gear.
And all of the bitches.
All the bitches.
And again, let us remind you, this is 90s money. So for teenagers in school, $200 a week, that seems pretty good.
Yeah, that's really nice.
But for whatever reason, Val's still playing it cool, and he kind of acts like he doesn't want Brink on the team.
Yeah.
Acts like a dick, as is par for the course for Val. Makes him do a tryout. He says, you got 30 seconds, do your shit. And it seemed pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not dialed into the scene of the X Games, but you could say it was radical.
Gnarly.
Yeah. But, I'm no expert in this area. Val is definitely impressed. He says he's in, but he adds the caveat that Brink can't be a dick to him anymore. Yeah. You can't rag on him in public. He's got to play it cool.
He's got to show up to every single practice.
And then Brink adds his own rider on, and he says, I'll do this, but nobody can know that I'm on the team before the competition. Because obviously he's very worried about the Soul Skaters finding out.
Yeah.
And what they would think of him. Yeah. Skating for money.
Oof.
And then we get a fun character, the slimy team manager.
Yes.
I think he's got like a jumpsuit or a track jacket on. He's got
a creepy guy hanging out with all these middle school, high schoolers.
He got the slick back hair. He gives Brink the whole spiel about how crazy X-Bladz is, how big of a deal they are. He's sold millions of dollars.
$10 million last year.
$10 million.
X-Bladz.
In 90s money.
Big money.
They're basically Kubot or I can't even remember Lucky's owner. Fuck that movie. Yeah, millions in merchandise, but he makes sure he's not completely slimy. He says, your parents know you're going to do this, right?
And Brink's like, my parents? Yeah, my parents. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, dude.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's a very good impression of Brink. Brink is this, I don't like him very much. He's very happy-go-lucky. He's just kind of like a dumb...
He shouldn't be happy all the time.
Yes, that's very true. But he just kind of seems like a dumb, floppy-eared puppy personified into a person.
Kind of like a stoner, yeah. Got like a stoner vibe from him. I don't know.
Doesn't remind you of... Must remind you of something.
Shaggy.
All right, we in there, guys. The meme continues. We got the McRib, we got the Shaggy drop. Hey, it wasn't me. All right, we're moving on. The show is over. 3 episodes. This is the Tokyo Drift of our show. It's all downhill from here. Okay, I don't even know where we are. Okay, yes. The manager seems purely convinced. We don't see any paperwork signed. Oh, your parents are cool? All right, we shake on it. You're on the team. And
Brink heads home, and he's heading in, and his sister catches him. He's like, well, you left, with a lot less stuff than you have now. What's in the bag? And Brink says, none ya. She's, what? None ya business.
Oh! I don't know if that joke was even old at the time of this movie, but he got her.
Got him.
Brink does have a couple good zingers or one-liners, whatever you want to call it. But he brings his stuff in. He's ogling it because he's got some sick new skates. He's up in his room. Then he's worried because I think...
friends were maybe going to come over, or his parents.
Worried about his parents. I thought he was worried about his parents finding it, but then he kind of tells them right away.
Tells the dad, who does not approve.
Yeah, at dinner, they are talking, and he's like, hell no, that's what got you suspended.
Yeah.
Because Brink says, hey, I want to earn some money, get a job, since you're broke ass dad, you a deadbeat dad. It's a no-go for Brink. So later that night, Brink is calling his friend Peter, one of the Soul Skaters, talking to him, and is just about to break it to him. Yeah, tell him that he's joined the X-Bladz. But then Peter has to get off his phone because he's got his own deadbeat dad, rather a stepdad, Jerry, who is a recurring character only in Peter's conversations, and he sounds much like who is the I can't even remember, the boyfriend of the kid's mom in Under Wraps.
Yeah.
Except,
Todd?
actually, it was a Todd. Yeah, that sounds right. He sounds like what we made Todd out to be, but he's actually, bad.
He's bad.
He's like Jerry in Parks and Rec, if you will. So, the next day at home ec, he was trying to, I guess, do it again. He had some really weird metaphor. He was like, hey guys, we're making a cake right now.
It's a lot like friendship.
Have you ever thought about how cakes are like friendship? And I was prepared for some we did get a corny thing, and but I was prepared for it to go over well, but his friends are like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? So they were not on board for his saccharine, sappy lines. But he's trying to tell them that about him joining the X-Bladz, but then our boy Val comes in. Val has a tendency to just always come in somewhere off screen. He just slides into frame. You hear his voice first, and then he comes on and just waltzing in. And I guess we should let's paint a bit of a word picture about what Val looks like.
Pale?
Yeah. He's pale. His face is very much like a classic bully. He kind of looks like Sid from Toy Story. He's got
longer hair.
Yeah. He's got longer hair, sometimes wears backwards hat, looking a little like Fred Durst, as we mentioned in Limp Bizkit. Baggy shirts, but that kind of applies to
baggy pants.
Everybody in this movie, because it is
wallet chain.
Yeah,
chain wallet.
Other people have wallet chains too.
That's true.
But yeah, he's I think Val is great. I have written here in my notes that Val is great. He plays his role very good.
Very douchey. Yeah.
He's you love to hate him. He's
unlikable character.
He's probably the best villain that has been in any of these movies so far. So, hi, Mark.
What?
I was trying to say he's setting a high mark, and then I guess, came out with a line from The Room. So,
hi, Mark.
So he interrupts Brink right as he's trying to tell his friends about that he's joined X-Bladz. And then kind of just gloating again, and then Gabriella says,
you're such a jerk.
Yeah. And then Val's like, hey, Brink, do you think I'm a jerk?
Do you? Brink? Huh? And Brink hesitates a little bit, and eventually no, I don't. No.
I'm sorry, Brink. I couldn't hear you.
No.
Do you think I'm a jerk?
No, I don't.
Yes. Val is not a jerk. He is. And then Val exits the scene saying, see you this afternoon. And then
his friends are like, what?
Yeah.
This afternoon?
They're definitely dumbfounded, and Brink's like, I don't fucking know. And they're completely convinced. They are not worried at all.
Yeah.
So at X-Bladz practice, Val is working Brink hard. Brink has a great session, brah.
Great sesh.
Is all kicking back, and Val's like, get back to work, dog. But not a good kind of dog. Like, he actually thinks he's a dog. Yeah, Brink just nose to the grindstone, doing what he can to get through these practices, because he's about that hustle, getting that paper, that 90s money.
Dollar bills.
But he's also loyal to his friends. So right after he gets done with X-Bladz practice, he's rushing over to get to the Soul Skater practice.
And they've been waiting there for 2 hours for him.
Well, yeah, they have been practicing on their own, though, but they are definitely wondering where he's been. And then they bring up, while at that practice, that they've heard about that X-Bladz did land a new skater dude.
He's
pretty sick.
Asian.
Yeah, they say, I hear he's huge. Like, is he Korean or something?
Korean, yeah.
And, I guess we don't want to come up with, like, cultural stereotypes. Maybe the 90s were different, but from my understanding, Koreans are not known for being huge or anything.
Or skateboarders that I can think of.
There's Yao Mings all over the place. They breaking out of the mold.
Gabby at one point, they're talking about the practice, and one of the guys is trying to land that sick 540 or whatever it was. And
I can confirm with my skating knowledge that is a move.
And she says he's failing at this. He's falling. And Gabby says, you got to hit it twice as hard.
Yes. I left all of these references to Jacob to pick up on the sexually questionable lines. This is this is why I'm here. He's got the nose for it. Vibrating beds. I didn't know what those were used for, but now I've been enlightened. I've seen the light. That night, Brink is having dinner with his family, and then we find out that Brink's dad got him a job at the dog groomers.
Dogs and Suds, or Pup and Suds?
Yes, we do find out later that the place is called Pup and Suds.
Pup and Suds.
And Brink is obviously in a tough situation because he already has a real job with the X-Bladz, but his dad can't know that, so he has to accept the job, but he's got no time. And then we get a fun little play-by-play day for Brink with a timestamp up for every scene, where we're seeing his whole day, complete with ska music, as I would not have it any other way.
He's like already passing out at lunchtime, 12 o'clock or whatever it was.
It's just school, then he's going to work to skate, or no, he goes to work at the dogs, then he goes to skate practice,
like 4.
And then he's coming home to do homework, and he just is
passes
writing
out.
Away, and just draws a line right off the page.
11:30, he's out like a rock.
It's just too much. He's falling asleep constantly, and he's burning the candle at both ends to the point where he gets sick. Or does he? Peter comes over to one of the Soul Skaters to comfort him, say, "Oh, I'm sorry you're sick. It's too bad we can't go to the Invitational." And that was all part of Brink's plan, because if they don't go to the Invitational, they can't see him skating for X-Bladz.
And Brink, like my good friend Ferris Bueller, is putting on, he's got quite the setup. He's got like a heating pad, I think, on his chest to help him sweat a little bit more. When Peter turns around to grab something, a Kleenex for Brink is like, has a squirt bottle or like a water bottle, and he's like squirting it on his face and stuff to make it look like he's sweating even more. He's got quite the setup there.
Yeah. It's definitely a smarter plan than I would have expected Brink to have. So he's able to convince Peter to just go practice with the Soul Skaters. Don't go to the Invitational. Just focus on practice. Because the Invitational is it's just kind of a
to show off.
It's a regional or something tournament. It's not the championship, and that's going to be the focus later on in the movie.
Yeah.
Brink shows up late to the Invitational, much to the chagrin of Val, over an hour late, and he's wearing some sunglasses.
Yeah.
And this really seems to just take Val off. He's basically like, "What the fuck are you doing wearing sunglasses?"
Yeah.
And Brink just says, "Hey, it's a look."
It's a look.
Presumably, it's to...
a disguise. So
to disguise.
His friends don't see him.
Or, I guess, any other skater dudes around.
Yeah.
But it's a good plan, because Gabriella, at the Soul Skater practice, convinces Jordy and Peter that they really should just go to the Invitational.
Check it out.
Size up the competition, and they can probably at least catch the last team and maybe see who's this surprise skating ringer.
The Korean.
Yeah, the Korean on Team X-Bladz. Cut back to the competition. Brink's set happens. I think it's on a vert or a half pipe or something like that. He kills it. He gets a 97, which is out of 100. 6 score, as we're led to assume. They don't really go into the scoring super well in these skating competitions, but kills it. He gets a $200 bonus because I guess they won.
And then during his run, actually, is when Gabriella and his other 2 friends showed up, and then one of the guys had said, "Oh, he's really good" or whatever. And Gabby notices right away that it's not somebody new. It's
that he's not Korean, and that it's not somebody new.
Yeah.
So the sunglasses did not do the trick. They come over. Gabriella assaults,
pushes him right down,
pushes him hard,
yeah.
And then the Soul Skaters basically just own him because he's a sellout. He's doing it for the money, not for the love of the blade.
Yeah, he, like Lucas had said, he did get paid $200 just for winning that this trial run. So
he tells them it's not what it looks like. I can explain. They don't want to hear it. They just get out of there.
But he throws his helmet back at I don't know if it was at Val or one of the other goons.
Probably at Val.
But then he said, like, I'm done, didn't he? He said, I'm done, and then he ran.
Yeah, he ran away.
Him.
And we get to see, I don't know if it's the next day or what, but the Soul Skaters kind of hanging out at a classic California location, the pier, eating some, I don't know, chili dogs or something. And they're just trying to figure out their team situation because they need a replacement for Brink. And they throw around this guy named Benji. But we hear that Benji, I really like this, we hear that Benji's style is sketchy and he's kind of a poser. And it's like, shit, man. Benji's got a family to think about. Don't go into him that hard. This is a straight up sketchy poser. Then Brink approaches them, asks if he can sit down, and they say, yeah, sure. So he sits down, and then they all get up and leave.
Yeah.
He cannot get back with the team.
He's about to chase him down again, and boom, there's Val and his
There's Val. We hear his voice, and he just comes from somewhere off screen.
Once again. Yeah.
And basically, Val somewhat convinces him that, like, hey, they don't want you anymore. X-Bladz were hella sick, brah.
Yeah.
So
he got that money.
They got that paper. Brink miserably decides to come back to the X-Bladz. Then we are back at home, and Brink's dad, in a complete reversal of what he had said earlier in the movie, now says that Brink is too unhappy. No teenager should be that unhappy.
All the time.
And the mom says, well, why don't you go talk to him? And he seems just offended by this.
Yeah. Talk to my own son.
Me talk to him with words? He doesn't say words. So he does acquiesce. He begrudgingly goes and talks to Brink. And Brink he's moody, he's emo, but his dad gives him a heartfelt speech and says...
It is, too. It's a really good talk.
He's a good movie dad. This is only the first of like 2 good speeches he gives, which, I was inspired by him. But yeah, he gives a heartfelt speech saying, you know what? It's none of my business. But then he turns back and says, actually, it is my business.
I'm your father.
And that's my main job. Yeah, he might be a deadbeat dad with maybe no prospect in the construction business anymore. But he's going to try his best and be a good dad for his job.
Yeah.
We don't really get any immediate change from Brink. He's still with the X-Bladz, and the next day they're scoping out and the kind of areas that the championship competition is going to be taking place in. We find out that the championship is comprised of 3 parts: the vert, the street sequence, and
downhill.
So that's where they're at. They're at the downhill course. Just kind of getting a feel for it.
Brink's scoping it out. He's using his hands, kind of to motion, which routes he wants to use. And he says to Val, wouldn't it be sweet if I went over like this jump and went over on top of the roof house? And Val's like, we don't do fun.
He's like, no, Brink, it'd be hella lame. We're all about winning.
Serious championship practice.
And who shows up? It's not the X-Bladz ruining the time. It's now the Soul Skaters showing up. And they're like, oh, man.
The star spot.
Who lets that? I guess they let anybody skate here. Yeah, and it's a public street that they're at. It's not like some crazy course. It's just literally a street.
And Gabriella says that. It's a free country. We can be here. And then Val says to Gabriella, well, you can go back to Mexico. Something like that.
Yeah, it's classic, not very subtle racism.
She's like, I'm Peruvian.
Yeah, she got back at him with the facts, so good for her. Val comes up with the idea, okay, if you guys want to stay, we're just going to race for it.
Yeah.
And Gabriella volunteers for the Soul Skaters, and then Val
volunteers Brink.
Yeah, dastardly move.
Brink is not feeling it. He doesn't want to be the guy that'd have to go up against his friend.
Yep. And right before he's going to start the race, Val comes up and tells Brink that there's a turn on the course and that he needs to take the outside.
I mean, you normally take the inside, obviously.
Brink's like, what? Brah, we always take the inside. And Val's like, The whole race starts off pretty fine.
Gabby tells him to not hold back, give it your all,
And she does not hold back. I wanted some wowing moments, and we got some in this. She went off basically like a GTA, just there's a truck at the side of like the road.
Gardening, like a gardening truck. It has a ramp.
Perfectly set up to be a ramp. She goes off of it, and it's definitely a wow moment.
Yeah.
Which I quite enjoyed.
Yeah.
But
that was good.
They eventually approach the fateful turn. And Brink yells out, take this turn on the inside.
Outside.
The outside. That's correct. And Gabby's like, dude, no. Everybody takes it on the inside.
So Brink takes the outside, and of course Gabby goes the inside like her instincts are telling her, but good old Val, moments before, had, there was a little, like, rock garden on that corner, and he just kicked some of the rocks right out into the road, and that's exactly what Gabby hits, the rocks on the inside of the turn.
And she wipes out hard. It was a little... I gritted my teeth watching it. It was a little tough to watch.
A lot of rolls, it was hard.
I did enjoy that...
Slow-mo.
Yeah, in the slow-mo, you could really appreciate how baggy her clothes were. She's wearing some classic 90s overalls and just a really baggy shirt. I'm pretty sure I saw a wallet chain there.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit of a laugh from that. But yeah, it was a rough wipeout. Looks like she had gotten some road rash.
Yeah, her arm was pretty ripped up.
And Brink felt responsible, as I think he at least should have taken some responsibility.
Just like he had in the race earlier at school when his opponent had crashed, he again stopped for Gabriella and helped her out.
Heart of gold. But while he's giving Gabriella that love, he's getting no love from the Soul Skaters.
Val is not happy.
They take her away, and later that night we see them coming out of Gabriella's house, and they tell Brink, yeah, she's alive, but
no,
like basically
broken bones.
Yeah, basically tell him to like fuck off. And Brink goes in to the house, or is welcomed in by Gabriella's mom, and lets him see Gabriella, who's resting up in her bed. And Gabriella gives a decent speech of her own. It's no inspiring dad talk, but I thought it was going in a direction because she's talking about when you have a passion for something, in this case, skating. And sometimes when you turn a passion into a job, then it's not so fun anymore. I thought that's where she was going, but she really just says, then you're a sellout. Everybody wants money, but you should need money. You should just do it for fun. So not completely convincing, but, she's still a teenager approaching it.
Yeah.
Brink goes home and is still melancholy. And this is where he has a really good heart-to-heart with his dad. So he tells his dad that, yeah, he wanted to earn some money for the family, but he also wanted to be the X-Bladz because he wanted to be somebody.
Yeah.
He liked the idea of having his pick everywhere. He liked the merchandise. He liked the fans. He liked...
the money.
Yeah. Well, but this is beyond the money, that he was finding some amount of personal self-worth in having this as a job, being a skater. And the dad says, you know what? You might like skating, and I might not be all about that, but we're more alike than you think, because he was a construction foreman, and he liked that. He liked feeling needed by people, having responsibilities and authority on the job site, and people coming to him. But as he's been on his disability, he's kind of felt lacking in that sense, but he's kind of grown to learn that it's not so much what you do. That's not that's not what defines you. It's who you are and the company you keep and how you keep it and how you live your life. And I was like,
this
damn.
Is real talk.
That's
here.
really inspiring,
It was a really good talk.
I've definitely had thoughts like that and trying to reconcile with my own amount of self-worth and what I've been able to accomplish, or whether I have a career that I'm proud of, or whatever. And it just really resonated with me, and I did not expect that to happen in any Disney Channel original movie, let alone a radical 90s one about
skating.
Yeah, about skating. But yeah, really 10 out of 10 movie dad speech. And then he ends it by saying, you know what? This big competition means a lot to you. I'll go to the championship and watch you.
Yeah.
So Brink is convinced to lead the X-Bladz, so he goes and signs his resignation in a cool, radical way by throwing his skates on a pizza that Val and the other X-Bladz are eating.
And then a shake chocolate right into Val's face.
Yes, he throws it right into his face. Before this, we had heard Val say, I don't want a strawberry shake. Do I look like a girl? And I'm like, coming up with so many new stereotypes. Koreans are huge, and strawberry is only for girls, apparently.
I like strawberry.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'm not gonna diss anybody or label them as a girl for liking it. Then Brink is trying to get back into the good graces of his teammates by buying them. I found this a little weird, where he just basically buys his way back onto the team. He took a 4-month advance on his salary at the...
Pup and Suds.
Yeah, the pet groomers. So he's got them t-shirts with a puppy in a bathtub.
That they don't want. They don't want the t-shirts. They already have shirts.
They eventually take the shirts, as well as a bunch of new skates and new gear for them. And I do feel like the Soul Skaters come off as like a little greedy that's what pushed them over the edge to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah.
And then we also got something that maybe helped convince them is that Gabby had heard that Brink had thrown a vanilla shake into Val's face.
And Brink's like, nah, it was chocolate.
Chocolate, brah. And I'm like, wow, you got him!
Yeah.
Brink's starting to grow on me in the final moments of the movie. So then we're at the championship. It's a big deal. ESPN is there filming it somewhere. We don't really see any cameras, but
Mom and sister are there. The dad's not there, though, because he's down at the construction company.
Yeah, I was expecting it was going to be some kind of internal conflict for him where he had to wrestle with providing for his family and the importance of that, but also the importance that skating has to Brink and his importance of being a father. But they didn't really delve into that.
No.
The dad's got his message out, and for the most part, has done a really good job with. So Val comes up to Team Pup and Suds. That's the groomers, and that's their team name, and just starts talking some trash. And at this point, I'm like, okay, Val, you're kind of on the downward slope with me.
Yeah.
You basically try to kill Gabriella, and now you're just kind of some lame trash talk.
Overdue sheep.
Luckily, doesn't last too long, and then we're right into the competition, starting with the street segment. Everybody's really good at skating, and it was at this point that it seemed that I think most of the actors in the movie actually did their own stunts.
It was, yeah. I mean, they do a lot of close-ups, and you can tell that it is the actors and actress that are, doing the skating. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, it was definitely impressive. Again, not super in the know about what's a good skating trick, but I was impressed with the stuff that they were doing.
Yeah.
Everybody does pretty well, especially in the street segment. In the vert, is that a thing?
Vert.
Yes. Brink does fall, so that makes it a little close.
Takes 89, was it?
Yeah, it takes an 89, which again, the scoring doesn't really seem to make any sense.
We saw a lot of 97s, 98s, high 90s.
So yeah, everybody on Team Pup and Suds seemed to have done really good, but apparently they were barely able to make it into the finals.
As they got fourth.
Yeah, they were in fourth, I don't even know. And then some guy basically died on the course.
He hit hard, and then they ended up getting into second place.
Team G-Force fell out of the competition because of that. So yeah, then they got up into it. So while the competition is split into those three parts, the street, invert, and then the downhill, only two teams, I guess, get to do the downhill, and only two people, one from each team, participate in that.
Yeah.
Of course, we had to have this climactic finish, though, so it works well for a movie purpose that this final downhill race is taking place between Brink and Val. While this is all happening, we find out that Brink's dad did get his job back. That's what he
did really good. Yeah, Brink gives him a thumbs up, thumbs sideways, thumbs down, and the dad just thumbs up all the way.
So yes, then it was if you want to really dig into the analysis of this, that was a very important moment for Brink because then he was truly able to just focus on skating.
Felt free,
for purely fun, no considerations about money at all. He was free, like Kanye West would say.
That's when he performed his best. Yeah.
Yeah, more shit happens. It all comes down to this final race. So starts out. Don't need to give you quite the play-by-play. They're going fast. They're crouching down, doing some tricks.
They set a course record for speed, like 44 miles per hour.
Yeah, they were going pretty damn fast. I would be freaking out for sure.
Yeah.
And it's very close. It's pretty much neck and neck the whole way. Brink falls for a bit, catches back up, and then there's a blind spot. So the entire time the audience is able to follow them. There's different cameramen.
ESPN's recording.
Yeah. There's probably ESPN. It's on the Ocho or something. But there's a blind spot where there's no cameraman. Val knows where this spot is, and he starts to
beat up.
Try to shove him into some cars.
Yeah.
But as he's doing this, he makes himself wipe out. Brink, having the heart of gold,
like he has twice already.
It's a very well established modus operandi for him. He goes over, makes sure that Val is okay, and tries to get him back into the race. And Val, in sort of a Scar Mufasa moment, says, I knew this would happen. Pulls him down, pushes him away, gets back into the race.
It's all recorded too. ESPN was right there in the moment. I thought they were maybe going to call back and show that moment happening later in the movie, but they don't. So I don't know what really the point of.
Well, it does slightly. It's not as impactful as you might have thought it was going to be. But yeah, this is caught on camera. Long story short, Brink is able to catch back up. He breaks the ribbon at the finish line.
Yeah.
He wins. These Disney Channel original movies don't really know how to end.
This one ended very quickly, once again, yeah.
You Lucky Dog basically shoved in what the most interesting part of the movie into the last 15 minutes. This is really how it goes. Brink wins. The X-Bladz manager comes over and is like, Val, we saw him push you on camera. We saw it. He's off the team. You want to be on the team? Brink's like, no, I don't want to be on the team. And then he gets the trophy. And then
roll credits.
It's a freeze frame on his face because how else would you want this movie to end?
Yeah, raising the trophy. Yeah.
And that was Brink. It's a quick credit sequence, not as long as You Lucky Dog or Under Wraps, which I mentioned only because another song was playing and it was
more ska.
No, it was not more ska.
It wasn't. No,
disappointingly,
it was
but it was one of those things where it sometimes happens in movies where they have a song that's written originally for the movie, and it basically just recounts the whole plot of the movie. Except this was the plot recounted in about 45 seconds because this one definitely had, so a little behind the scenes if you're wanting to watch these movies like we do. I'm hoping, and so far it's turned out the case that all these are available to rent on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
Very minimal pricing, like 99 cents or $2 or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you feel bad about that, hey, maybe we set up a Patreon or something, you send us some dollars. Just kidding. Unless you think it's a good idea.
We're not kidding.
But this one had, within this recording, the trappings of, if it was airing on Disney Channel. We got the kind of Capri Sun-looking Disney mouse logo, and we seem to have had the same amount of credits that it would have had on television, where it just needs to end immediately to get into the next episode of fucking Lizzie McGuire or whatever.
Even Stevens.
Yeah. So, quick ending, abrupt ending, but as you probably gathered from the kind of excitement we've had while talking about it, I enjoyed Brink.
It was a good movie.
I was definitely looking for some ridiculous 90s stuff. We got that. We got the fashion.
We got the chocolate syrup.
Yeah, the chocolate syrup, which I will say, I definitely have done. I'm guilty of doing that. Or just making the chocolate milk with chocolate syrup. Good shit right there. Mm. We got the fashion. We got the language. We got the music. I did not expect to ever hear any ska music in a Disney Channel original movie.
You got it on multiple occasions.
Probably won't again, but that was definitely a fun thing. So I'd say, drum roll, new ranking. Brink number 1. Under Wraps number 2. You Lucky Dog. I can't even fucking remember the name of it. Number 3.
Are we going to do this every time?
Probably not. It might get contentious if we get some other good ones. Yeah. Or it might just get a little unruly.
Maybe just a top 3.
Maybe occasionally we'll check in. We'll do, some update episodes where we order them. But again, if we get to 50 movies, that shit's going to get fucking out of hand. Yeah. So probably not something that you should expect.
Fun movie though.
Yes. So, just a little housekeeping as we transition out of this episode. Just going to put this out there. Not too many expectations, but if you want to send us a message, I have set up an email account. It's a whole new pod, just as you would think to spell it, all one word, at gmail.com. So, shoot us a message and we might read it. If you want to ask us some questions or tell us about how we've been so impactful and changed your life for the better, we might read it. And then check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Play. Review us on those platforms. That'll help get the word out there.
And Spotify. We're also on Spotify.
Yes, newly on Spotify, or at least maybe since the last recording. I can say we've found it. So follow us on there if that's your preferred podcast platform of choice. And again, we might try to look into some other services. I think I'll wait until we have a little bit more of a catalog beneath us before I am starting to shoot it into Stitcher and nonsense like that. And so review us and also tell your family and friends.
It's fun. This is fun.
We're okay, right? We need that validation. So get the word out there. I can see the download numbers. I can tell you, we can do better. Not setting the bar too high, but I think we can do better. So, decent show. Get the word out there. Spread it around. anything for you, Jacob, that you want to add? I guess follow us on Twitter.
We do have a Twitter, yeah.
Jacob
whole new
has
pod.
that set up.
Just got to get a little more active with it.
Yeah, it's really difficult, I'm hosting this bitch. I'm fucking editing it, posting it, hosting it, blah, 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 all this shit.
I'll see what I can do.
You can't even post a picture of a movie and a link. You see what I'm working with here?
I'll get to it.
Well, something else maybe you can get to is a closing statement for us. Wow us. You've had another week to prepare.
I never prepare. Don't do drugs.
It's not. Stay in school, kids. Don't do drugs. Jeez, you sound like the dad in Brink. What a square.
We are living in the 90s.
Only 90s kids remember how bad that joke was.
Got milk?
What?
No. Yeah! That was legitness.
Yeah, it was, huh?